So the lust of the eyes, we have the greed, we have the possession, and we have the covetousness. Lost wife, according to Genesis chapter 19 and verse 24. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. That is what greed, and that is what possession will do to you. Lust of the flesh, that has to do with passion, and then your desires. All of these things, we read about how we worry, and God already made provision for us. Yes, we are still worrying. Matthew chapter 6, I told you, don't be careful. Don't see, possessions are good, but by the time you now put all your effort on possession, it is not good. A lot of us, some of us made plans to travel, even this Easter holiday, because I have passion. My passion is traveling. My passion is this. My passion is that. You start gathering things. Were you able to make that trip now? The money you pay to the airline, will it be returned to you? You that said, I want to go for a cruise, my private jet and all that, were you able? So all of these things, we need to look at it. That is lots of, and then the pride of life, position and power. You want power, you want position, you will do anything to get that power to kill. You know, to kill just to get position. Oh God, I'm the head of state, I'm the president, I'm the chief of army staff, I'm the personal secretary and all of these things. But see, our life is like this. With a snap of a finger, the Lord will say, no, come back home. But where is the home that you are going back to? So as believers, we are called to imitate Christ by refusing to fall in love with the world. Be in the world and not of the world. That is what Jesus said to us. That's what the word of God says to us in that book of John chapter 15 and verse 19, and also in John 17 from that 13 down. He said, you are not of the world, because Jesus is not of the world. As he is in this world, so we are. 1 John chapter 4 verse 17. So we are in this world. And so the other thing that we just need to do quickly is that, number 3, do not conform with the world. Don't be anti-God. Your mindset should be a mindset of God, not a mindset of anti-God. Romans chapter 2 verse 1 to 2 says, particularly verse 2 of that Romans, we should not be conformed to this world, but we should renew. We should be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. No conformity to the world. Ephesians tells us, see, for example, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, it said to us, verse 14, what do you have to do? What has light and darkness got to do together? What, as children of God as you are, what have you got to do with an unbeliever? He said, evil communications corrupt good manners. And 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 14. I read down very quickly. Say, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship had righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion had light with darkness? And what concord had Christ with Belial? Or what part had he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement are the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. As God has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. We cannot conform to the world. No, we should not. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they refused to conform. And by the end of the day, they got promotion. We will not worship this God of Nebuchadnezzar. We cannot be controlled. We cannot conform. By the end of the day, they got promoted. Daniel chapter 3 and verse 30. The same thing with, do you know that Joseph was in Egypt? At the time he was in Egypt, Egypt was the world. He had the opportunity with sleeping with the Potiphar's wife and getting whatever he wanted to get, not knowing that God has a perfect plan for him, but he refused. So what I'm trying to say is that we are in the world, but we are not of the world. Potiphar's wife could not lure Joseph. Joseph refused. I am not. No. He did not go there. End of the day, he was promoted. And the same thing for Daniel when he was in Babylon. He refused to eat the food. No, I'm not confirming. By the end of the day, they were promoted. One of his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, can't bow down to this God. And by the end of the day, they were promoted. So let us recall, as we round up, brethren, very quickly, let us recall that we are strangers and pilgrims in this world. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 13. We are strangers. We cannot go back to the world. The world is not our place. Jesus said, come out of the world. For where I am, there will you be also. And I read very quickly. Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 13. And it says, these all died in faith, don't have